on the website, there should be, a section there detailed on the various equipment and the various software and how to use it. It's almost like printing a book.
Gee, you just gave me the most wonderful introduction to my talk.
Oh, wonderful. Glad to be of assistance.
Okay. This is a little idea I had, a cute title for something that people do. And I think, Roxanne, you are, in a sense, doing this sort of thing. I called it a boot camp for occultation observers. And this particular image in the background is in Yogyakarta before the Julieta occultation of May 26th in 2015, where David and I, but more David than me, was busy teaching them how to use the mighty minis to try to observe this occultation, which I think we didn't get any data. We had thunderstorms and rain. We tried. So what I'm talking about is a daytime session or two learning how to use the supporting software, an evening session learning how to observe with one's own equipment, preferably in a group session so observers can help each other, an opportunity to improve observing skills, and a way to encourage the use of available prediction and reduction software. It also is something that is done by SWERI, for example, as a session to prepare for specific high-profile events. I don't expect this to provide instant expertise, but it is to have observers gain some experience with observing occultations and the software that supports the observing. And just had a couple of suggestions for when you might schedule something like this. During a lunar passage through denser star fields, so that give multiple opportunities for observing and recording events. These don't have to be associated with IOTA annual meetings. If you might consider having multiple sessions. In the evening observing session would be in between daytime sessions on prediction software and data analysis. And David pointed out from his past experience the different times of lunar passages through the Milky Way, and targeting the evening passages because it would be much easier to get people together in an evening session than a morning session, early morning session. The northern Milky Way passages are generally in April, and the southern Milky Way evening packages are generally in November. And you can do this anywhere with anyone. An observing session would need a darker sky with nearby parking and access to power and maybe Wi-Fi. You would have discussions of software use and software training requiring individual access to personal computing equipment, Wi-Fi, or prior downloads of the necessary software. So that would mean you probably need power, you probably need the Wi-Fi or some way of accessing the internet. You could do software discussions and software training via online, which of course is we see a lot of with IOTA and PyMovie, but that's more challenging, especially when you're trying to do multiple different pieces of software. And it'd be nice if you have group sessions that you could have a mixture of observing experience in the participants from none to quite experience, but that's not necessarily a requirement. It just would make it nice. And the experience could help the inexperienced a little more. I would say that try to arrange that each participant has access to a Windows computer to operate the software. And yes, it is, I agree with Roxanne, the software is very Windows centric. And I don't know how to get around that problem because I don't see that this software is going to run on something as small as an Android, but I could be wrong. A telescope and equipment to record the data, and some sort of a field telescope that's portable and doesn't require power or Wi-Fi or cell phones. So you also want to have GPS access, the GPS timestamping for the data, and small Windows cabinet or computer to record the data. And I really would like to recommend that visual timing methods be discouraged. I know some of the documentation on observing occultations still spends what I consider to be a little too much time on in discussing visual timing methods. That was what we had to do when we didn't have any better way. But using a stopwatch and time signals coming over the air just don't give the accuracy that we need today. And I have a suggested agenda, which I'm not going to go through this right now. It's out there on the website. And I will also, by the way, put this presentation as a download from the website too. So before observing a session on installing and using the equipment, on the installing and using the software, how to generate your predictions. And second, evening session, practicing the observing, setting up the scopes, capturing some data, learning pre-pointing or finding a target. That, by the way, it's something I always have a hard time with. And then finally, a data reduction session, hopefully with data captured in the evening session, but if that didn't work out, use pre-recorded data from some previous sessions, and how to do a report spreadsheet, how to report lunar occultations and grazes and so forth. And I suggest that we start trying to do this with sessions of small sessions with a few people, which David's already set up one that we did with a couple of people from Applied Physics Lab, but we decided they needed more because, well, our observing sessions were rained out, but we need to continue that. It's nice to have a leader or a teacher on this, but sometimes groups may be able to self-organize and not need a particular single person to do the teaching. And organize it as a club activity if clubs are encouraged to do that. If we have occultation, be able to start up doing occultation campaigns again, we might be able to set one up before an occultation campaign. And I would really like to know how well this works out. If people think these suggestions are helpful or not, if they have recommendations for future ideas, camps, and what would you like to have future organizers know? And all of the software can be found online. Most of it is free or very low cost. Many of the programs have user guides or how-to documents, YouTube tutorials. The software packages are available via the occultations website. And the support page, which I'm writing, will have links to software packages. Oops, I spelled that wrong. User guides, tutorials, and there's some that I've got there that I think are very, very nice. And again, this is more of my personal recommendations and suggestions, not official pronouncements from IOTA. And these are really not easy to do, so I'm very, very grateful to anybody who arranges, supports, and participates in this sort of a camp. And that's all I had.
Well, thank you, Joan. Any questions for Joan at this time?
Yes, Joan, I'd just like to, I've done a citizen science thing. I'm in Connecticut, by the way, Rick Bria. It's not, it might not sound as attractive, but I've actually done these learning sessions via Zoom, and it actually works well because people don't have to travel from all different places, and during the session, I'll actually have a student say, Mr. Bray, you forgot to click on block integrate or something like that. So It can be done via Zoom. I wouldn't rule that out either. But of course, all your suggestions are fantastic. And a lot of them I've integrated, but don't
I've
discount.
never,
Yeah.
I've participated in Zoom sessions. Of course, Tony George has given multiple ones on Pi Movie and PIOT, which were very helpful, but never actually run one myself via Zoom. So yeah, that would be a
An
first.
actual occultation via Zoom. It's actually pretty cool. So the students get a big kick out of it.
Rick, by chance, are those your sessions? Are they recorded somewhere, like on a YouTube channel we can watch?
No, they are not. They probably should have been. I could have recorded them. Zoom
Okay,
has a
just
record.
curious.
I really wanted to talk to you too, because I do very similar things like you do. I 5 different observatories, but I'm going to email you separately. I'm not going to talk.
Okay, sounds great. And I do like the comment you brought up about, you know, hold it, stop. I clicked on the wrong item.
Yeah.
Because believe me, guys, I'm watching the Pi Movie video, the online Zoom sessions, and I don't know if my version is different than your version or what, but you guys, sometimes the cursors, the mouse just doesn't follow fast enough. And by the time you click on something, the screen changes. I'm like 3 or 5 seconds behind you just because of the delay in Zoom. And I'm like, oh my God, where do I start? You know, so I don't want to appear stupid. I'm just going to sit in the background and watch. But that's one thing to always remember when we're going through these tutorials online. It's, you know, you got bandwidth speeds and constraints. So it's like, you know, click, let your audience catch up. Tell, you know, what part of the application, you know, am I going to file load, or am I clicking on tools, preferences to help us keep track of where you're at? Because a lot of you are you're doing this subconsciously. You're so good and you make it look so easy. Just remember to, you know, take it down to the 101 level here and just let us see where you are in the application. And I think that would help us a lot.
I actually have documents that I follow because, you know, I'm working different observatories. They have different equipment, and I send those documents to the students, and they review them, and that's why they're able to say, hey, you forgot to do, you know, blank, whatever it happens to be,
Yeah.
because they have the documents in front of them. They're following along with me, you know, with pictures, you know, with screens grabs and everything in the documents and what have you.
And I also find that also, you guys been doing this for so long, and that jargon is just ingrained in you, and you know when you're talking again what you're doing, you're subconsciously clicking on things and adjusting stuff, and I'm, you know, and in many ways, especially like with Pi Movie, just because I just don't use it often enough, yeah, it's just kind of hard to keep up sometimes.
And it improves, and it's, you know, Pi Movie's not what it was, you know, a year or two ago.
A year ago, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
So super. Well, thank you. I think these were great, Joan. I really appreciate your suggestions and bringing up the citizen science and the boot camps and such. I think they're great in bringing new people on board, and just giving a refresher for, you know, some of us that need it.
And I think it would be useful if IOTA could make videos of a lot of this and put it all on YouTube. And then people
All
can
the
look at it as
presentations.
often as they want.
There is a tutorial, there are a number of tutorials there is an IOTA YouTube section.
Okay, all
There
right,
is.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Okay.
I can send a link to it.
I will have
As
to look at that.
it's a whole section on IOTA videos, and the first section is tutorials, and then there are sections showing lunar occultations and asteroidal occultation video
Okay.
examples.
Good.
Can you show us where those are? I don't know if that's Roger. I can't tell who was talking.
That's
Probably
David.
just go to YouTube and just search for IOTA. It probably would help them pop up there.
There are a bunch of other IOTAs in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not
Brad
the only
Tyler-
ones
That's
with
true.
that name.
Occultations, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And type in, Pyote or Pie Movie and see what you get.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
not what I
Yeah,
expected.
You can get to those through the Pi Movie and Pyote download site on occultations.org.
Okay.
Well, I got high when I first used Bob Anderson's Peyote software, but for most people, getting high on peyote means something altogether different.
If
All
I
right.
could toss in 2 cents, my name's Kevin Hartnett and recent member and retiring actually from NASA soon and have been doing a lot of astrophotography, but would like to do more occultation work. It is pretty intimidating to go to the IOTA site and look at all the information. And I don't know how to solve this problem, but I'll toss this thought out that as was already mentioned, the field changes quickly. So, the camera recommendations 2 years ago maybe are different from now, or the software is different. And I found that, I'm finding that honestly challenging as I look on the IOTA site. I feel like I have to read everything and kind of glean a little from this and glean a little from that. But it would help, I think, somehow if things could be dated better. And so what I found very helpful, and I think he's on fine here, he'd even put in 2 cents himself. George Viscami's been a big help. He wrote
Yes.
an article that was
Yes.
dated recently. And that caught my attention, which really laid out, here's the equipment you need. And so that was very helpful. And then I was able to link with him via email, and he's been a big help.
Yeah, that is available through IOTA. It's on our documents page.
Right.
And I point that out on the boot camp site.
But I
Thanks.
think what is lacking in the way of a YouTube is what you'd find for any other of many different astrophotography sites is, here's a guy, videotaping himself. I'm gonna go out tonight and try to record the occultation of such and such a star. And then you see him, roll the scope out. Here's a picture of the camera and here's the software. And I don't think there's anything like that.
Actually,
Well, I tried-
this is Steve. There is one, but it was a guy in Australia who
Okay.
recorded an occultation while at dinner from his observatory in the backyard and did the reduction and everything.
Excellent.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we just need to track it down and get the link posted somewhere where it's easily accessible. And that's
Okay,
usually, that's
not
one of
wonky.
it's one of our barriers. If anybody wants to volunteer to help out with collecting a lot of this stuff and getting it organized, we've got a place for you to put it. It's just mainly a lot of us kind of get stuck with the things we're already doing and we don't get to some of that. Thanks for the suggestion on dating things. I should make the dates more apparent in some areas, particularly George's document, which is a recent document and very helpful. I should put that the date right up there on the link and the main page instead of having to get it out of the document itself.
Yeah, I'll say, not to prolong this, but it's not clear to me, looking at the IOTA website and the many pages in there, whether it's recommended to use the LI movie software for lunar reductions or the PY movie software, or whether there's different opinions on this. It seems like on the group's discussion, there's different opinions. So,
And there are different tools. Different people use PyMovie, LiveMovie, and Tangra. All three are good tools, and in fact, some have their varying strengths and weaknesses depending on So we have up to now have not made a point of particularly recommending one versus the other, because they're all good tools and different people tend to settle on the one that works best for them, or maybe best for a particular scenario. That might be a
Actually,
good thing for me to include on the page.
Yeah, I choose them based on how much they fit the way I think. I find some programs just very awkward to use, and it's not that they're bad programs, but somehow my brain works in a different way. And so that's how I choose programs, you know? And so different people have different preferences.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair enough. I'm not trying to be critical at all. I'm trying to be helpful.
Well, that's a helpful comment. It would be good for us to include that, more of that sort of preamble to some of the discussions of the tools, a preamble to tell people, you know, that all these tools are good options, you know, experiment and find the one that works best for you.
There you go.
I just sent out on the chat, I sent out a link to the IOTA YouTube's videos page that Brad Timerson had set up. And maybe
And I
we
see
should change
handle-
that to something else, Steve. But anyway, also you mentioned that video was where an occultation was recorded during dinner.
Yeah, it's right here.
Right, Dave Galt sent a link on that, the wonky astronomer.
Yeah, he already sent it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so did Peter.
We were going to do one like that ourselves, but when we started to put things together, we had a couple of problems and it didn't work out. That's what David was talking about, how we determined that we needed to step back and think about things a little bit.
I think Kevin's point is pretty well taken, because I'm probably as inexperienced a IOTA member as anybody, and I go to the IOTA website often to try to find something, and I can't find it. It's a difficult little website to maneuver, and I think Kevin's point is well taken, that it doesn't really lead you to the most important things first. You really have to ramble through the whole website to kind of glean what's there. So, you know, as we can, and I know it's a daunting task, and it shouldn't be on Steve's shoulders, but, you know, maybe we could ask for volunteers to help restructure that website so that it really is more user-friendly and newcomer friendly, so that they can really get the essential information first, and then, oh, by the way, if you want to go see the nuts and bolts of something, you can go to these different links. So
Very good points, Tony.
yeah.
I would want to point out in particular that the meetings are in two different places on the website, and it's really sort of amazingly redundant and difficult. One of them has links to YouTube videos and the other doesn't, but otherwise they're pretty much the same. And I haven't quite figured it out yet, but the meetings are really pretty confused on the website because there are two different locations on the website. And it seems to me that we need to have careful thought about tutorials for IOTA, and sort of limit the number we have and make them good. Tutorials about how to do things, you know, like make observations. And we have a lot of teaching information, but I just haven't seen good tutorials on the website, and I think that would be helpful to a lot of people.
Okay.
Joan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
This is Ernie Iverson. I've got a couple of other ideas that might work along that things that we should think about establishing. Maybe we've talked about them in the past, but one would be a mentoring system. If you've got new observers, yes, you can have your boot camp and show them how to do it the first time, but what happens when they get down the road a ways and the camera doesn't work? Where do they go? Who do they talk to? If we had a way of setting up some experts for various aspects, like how do you find predictive, so start with creating guide 9 maps. I've done that for people in the past, help people learn how to use that program. It's kind of like it's the follow on. If you live close to somebody, get together with them on more than one occasion. Here in East Texas, I'm fairly close to a number of IOTA members, and then big cities, and it's all within reasonable travel. So maybe a list of people willing to be mentors would be useful also.
I think that's a great idea. Then this is Kevin again, and George has been that for me, kind of just because he was kind enough to reach out to me, because I wrote him about his article and had some questions, but he's helped me with a lot of stuff, and I'd be pretty frustrated if it weren't for his help.
Okay, well, shall we adjourn, or do we want to talk some more?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, one thing at the very top of the YouTube, IOTA YouTube page is a link to the YouTube the presentation that Ted Blank gave in 2015 at the NEAF for beginning observers. So I think that's, I think Brad put there as a, yeah, it was in 2015, and it's on the right at the top of the YouTube link, page, IOTA YouTube page that I sent the link for. So.
Right, I found that one very helpful, but it is dated at this point, and so.
Yeah, there, he had an update for it in 2018, and that's not on the IOTA website as far as I know, but I have a link to it somewhere, and I'm trying to find it, and I'll send that out, at least to IOTA occultations.
If you can find it, David, I'll update it. I'll upload it to YouTube.
Okay.
And then I also have the video I did for NEAF, but then NEAF was canceled because of COVID. So
Yeah.
we've got a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
videos there too.
Frustrating.
Yeah. But I share Keith's observation. If we go to that occultation videos website, which that's on asteroidoccultations.com, and I don't think it links from our IOTA webpage, but they're dated. I mean, you're looking at stuff from 2016, 2017, 2001, 2007. I mean, some historical occultations are great, but if you got a new person here and you're like, trying to bring on college kids, trying to bring on a new observatory site, can we get those updated? And again, showing some of these tools, I don't know if they've been updated in the last 5 years or not either, but again, I share that observation that some of these could be updated. Some of these are quite dated.
Definitely.
2009, 2008, 1994. I mean, it's great stuff, but it doesn't really make a new person want to jump out and join you,
Yeah.
We're looking for yours, Roxanne.
I'm trying. We're just trying to figure out how to update this website. Yeah, but I think we can put some new links out there with some of the ones. I mean, we got some great, George's video, the Pie movie videos, John Moore, and you've got that really great ISS passing in front of the sun, stuff like that gets people interested.
Hey, is anybody interested in more information about the chaos object, which David discussed a while back? Well, after he talked, I decided to do a little preliminary lookup of it to see where it was, etc. I can share it for like a minute if anybody's interested.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Let me start my video here.
Yeah, I'd like to see it since I might be near the path.
Well, I think with the uncertainty, there's going to be everybody's in the path. So, but anyway, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, I got Stellarium up, which is what I normally use for finding star fields, since I'm very familiar with it and it works a lot better. So this is the morning of the 20th, local time 4:37, which corresponds to 11:37 UT. The object is in the east northeast, only at 18 degrees, and we can already see some twilight sneaking in here. So luckily, it's we'll be able to find it pretty easily. I cross-referenced the star. They gave it in a Gaia format, which is 50,000 numbers, but it's there's a Tycho one which I'll post on the user group, so it's easier to find. So I've configured Stellarium to have a window here indicating my field of view for a RunCam camera on a C8 with a f3.3 focal reducer. And to me, this is a good star field. There's a bright star here, brighter, what is it? 8th magnitude. So I think the target star will be easy to see. It's only 10.7 magnitude. So unless twilight is playing a trick on us, I think this is a pretty easy event to observe, even though the chaos is like 20th magnitude, but who cares? So if I look outside right now, it's pouring rain. So hopefully it'll go away before Tuesday morning. So I'm in. Anybody else want to join?
Do you have a sigma width as a fraction of diameter or as a function of diameter?
Of the object? Let me see.
Yeah.
If they actually show the, yeah, zoom in here, hold on. Oh, let me go back, I can do it. Find chaos, there we go. Chaos is,
I think I'm more than 1,000 miles away, but I just want to figure out.
they show the diameter is 400 kilometers. Oops.
Yeah, 406 kilometers.
I don't want to click on that, hold on. They don't show the, let me see, maybe they do show what the diameter will be. Give me a second. I will see if we can get the, well, we have the size, but we want the, doesn't look like they have the,
Yeah.
So it looks like it listed the diameter is 400 kilometers.
Yeah.
right. So,
So
we got the distance here is 42 AU. So somebody can do the math real quick. Very tiny. So,
what
here it is. Parent
Yeah.
diameter is 0.01 arc seconds.
So while we've been doing the IOTA session, somebody did post an updated path. And I don't recall who did it, but they had gone back through the Horizons elements file and deleted some of the high sigma data points. And they feel like they've greatly refined the path. But I heard, I haven't had a chance to follow up on the email, but that it was maybe passing farther into Mexico or something. But so I think we ought to get that updated path posted on Occult Watcher and see what we can drum up for it.
I would
Yeah.
suggest that you treat it as a highly uncertain path, no matter where it is. So if you have time and you feel like observing, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Good way to look at it.
Misses are data too, right?
Yep.
I'm trying to tag it in Occult Watcher Cloud, and it won't let me at the moment. So
Yeah, I couldn't find it in Cold Watcher Cloud either. I think it's just, I think the Horizons orbit must have it pretty far away.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think that's why it wasn't found on Cold
Well,
Watcher, which is,
it's actually come up, but it won't let me tag it. So I'll send a
oh, you
message to
found it. Oh, I
Haristo.
wasn't able, okay.
I'll send a message to Haristo to see if he can tag it himself, or let me tag it. So stand by. It'll pop up in the new Occult Watch with luck.
So if the diameter is 0.01 arc seconds, how does that play into diffraction issues, et cetera? Or does it?
Diameter. Yeah, it's got a maximum duration here of 0.7 seconds. So
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be any problem with diffraction. It's 406 kilometers diameter predicted there. So yeah, that's a straight edge. That's not a diffraction event.
Good. All right, I'll stop sharing now.
Okay.
That's just a quick question. I tried to bring that up in my stellarium and it did not show chaos. I could not find.
Oh, you'll have to go into the configure. Want me to show you how to do that? This is complicated for a lot of people, including myself. I always forget. Here, let me share again. It's not that difficult to do. It's just kind of convoluted. I just loaded it from the Minor Planner Center. Okay, so to find any asteroid or object, or solar system ones, go into configuration, which is, what is it? If you want to use the F keys, I always forget what it is.
No, I did it exactly that way.
Yeah, F2. Then go over to plugins. You have to have the solar system editor plugin loaded. And I always keep it loaded because I'm always searching for new asteroids. Then you go into configure, and this is the list that I already have loaded. Then you have to go down to import orbital elements, and then you type in what you're looking for, and it's numbers are usually easier to find things.
Okay.
And then you hit enter, and it comes up.
Right.
Now there is then you just click on it. You have to click on it and then say add objects. Now adding will also overwrite older versions, and there it is.
Do you have a UT on that?
Unfortunately, I haven't figured it out. If anybody, I'll buy you a beer if you can tell me how to do it. The time never shows UT. I wish it would be able to. You can swap between Julian Day, which is who puts you Julian Day in? Nobody, So I'm going to write the authors, the group, and see if we can get another tab on here that will allow us to show things in UT time. It's bitten me in the rear end more than once.
Well, the bottom of your frame says 2021 7/20 04/37/24 UTC -7.
Yeah, it shows it there, but I can't go in.
Is that the time of the event?
Well, that's the current time of what I set it to.
Oh, okay.
First thing I do first thing you should do. This is, wow, that was close. The first thing I do when I go into Stellarium is I stop the real-time clock, because when you start up, things are moving. If you look, you can see all the
right. Yeah.
So I just go ahead and stop the clock. Then I can move around anywhere in the sky. I don't lose tracking, because that's not what I'm in here for anyway. Then I come in and I set the date and time to what I'm looking for, search for the object, and hopefully it's visible. But I go in here and set the time via this menu or this dialogue here, but it doesn't allow you to do, UT, unfortunately.
Okay, so I moved back to my desktop computer, and Sam Dean is the person that's processed the updated orbit.
I'm still here.
And the map shows it clearly going across central Mexico, almost down to the Yucatan Peninsula, with error 1 sigmas that are less than or about a half to a third of the path width. So, you know, if that's accurate, there's little chance of anything in North America.
How far does it go from the Everglades?
Yeah, but you guys are in daylight.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a low elevation event in the early morning, so it's
Okay.
clearly a West Coast event. I think we have events. I think we have some other events.
Other events for where? I mean, yeah, well, I can bring up oops, what happened? I lost my cult watcher. Oh, Hebe's coming up. That's a
And there's AETHRA, AETHRA at 4:10 local time on the morning of Tuesday, the 20th.
Fucking hell.
So
give me a sec here. Unfortunately, Zoom takes over the screen. Always keeps things on top here. I don't seem to have them on my list. Maybe outside of my area.
yeah, so if I'm getting it, I'm in the path. Maybe because I'm way north of you.
Yeah, let me change my new share to
So anyway,
cult watcher. Here we go.
as per Steve Preston, I may give that one a try just because I may be up.
Well, this is Hebe. We have a lot of people signed up for Hebe. You can see all the little telescope icons there. And that goes through here in Arizona all the way up to Minnesota. So Midwesters, break out your scopes.
That Tuesday morning as well?
No, that one is I think Saturday or next Sunday night at 10.
Right. Something like 10:30 local time.
Oh, yeah, it's
in Arizona.
Yeah, local time Arizona. It's at 10:30. So I've already, and there's another one that happens 5 hours later. Tamrico is at 3:30 in the morning. I found a spot. My friend Mark Trueblood at Winery Observatory, both paths cross over his observatory, so I'm going to go out to his place and spend the night and observe both of them, weather permitting, of course. You always got to throw that in. So there's a lot of there's a lot of events, but we're stuck in the monsoon down here. So hopefully everybody else will have better luck. I'm limited to about 12th magnitude or less with my 8-inch. I say usually about 11.5, but sometimes this color of the star gives me a little leeway. I'd like to go at least another magnitude deeper so I could, have more opportunities, because sometimes they're not around. And traveling isn't cheap these days. So what else we have? These are actually pretty good ones too. Hebe's 8th magnitude and Tamrico is a 9.2 magnitude. So those are pretty, I give those, 100% probability of success, barring any other technical issues. So there was a thread on maybe it was Haristo who did it. Somebody had added the way to go to the, let me bring it up. It's easier to just to show it again. What happened to my share? Oh, I know what happened. I minimized a Cult Watcher. Okay. What's being shared now?
Watcher.
Cult Watcher? Okay, great. There, the added ability to show the events in sky chart, which I find very cumbersome to use. And I think he mentioned that was anybody else interested in having the same capability in Stellarium? And I can't remember if I responded or not, but if anybody else uses Stellarium, we should probably respond so he can put a link in, you know, to jump us right into Stellarium. I don't know how accurate it will be, but at least it's a start. He was willing to do it. I had to find a thread in the user group though, again, where he described it. But anyway, that's all I have.
Yeah, thanks, Vince. There is an add-in for guide as well. That's pretty easy to use. And it's convenient for creating those pre-point charts as well. And I have
I
a
think my
couple of
version,
talks in previous years at IOTA on how to create pre-point charts using guide. You can go back to the archives of previous talks and see the video and the slides.
I think my version of guide, it was back about 20 years when I was first.
I have uploaded the 4 gigabyte folder containing a perfectly ready to run version of guide to my Google Drive. And if anybody would like that link, you just download it to C:\guide9 and it'll start running. It's got the UCAC4 catalog included in it. So it's pretty, you know, if you can.
Oh, there's no cost for that anymore?
No, guide is now free.
Yeah, I use Guide 9, link to a Cult Watcher. I also use the C2A, and they're both great. And the key is to link it to UCAC4, then you get very good star charts.
Yeah. So if this is Ted Blank, if anybody wants a link to that, tedblank@gmail.com. I'll send you a link. You can download it into a folder and you're ready to go. No installation.
3 days later.
No, three or 3 weeks, depending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll take you up on that.
Okay, it's a deal. I'll send it off to you.
Guide 9, but I couldn't get UCAC4 to work on it, so I might do it too.
Yeah, okay, it does work. I did, this is Ted again, just mentioning, I did mentor a group of 3 people in our Phoenix Astronomy Society club who were interested in occultations. I gave them some equipment, then they bought some more equipment from me. They started out with a Kiwi box, upgraded to a VTI, upgraded from a 3-inch MIDI to a 5-inch maxi scope. And they recorded, that was Sam Insana and Paul Fasuna and Don, I forget Don's last name. Unfortunately, Sam just passed away suddenly about a month ago. And so I'm trying to get in touch with Paul and see if he's still interested in doing that. But it did take quite a bit of mentoring, you know, which I didn't mind at all because they were very excited and enthusiastic. And they traveled to mobile sites and got several positives and lots of negatives and almost got arrested on an Indian reservation once. And so they had their share of experiences. And I think their experiences were good overall. But it takes, it does take a commitment of somebody who is willing to mentor a new group. And I am sure that anybody in this meeting will be happy to do that for any new observer who wants to get involved. It's just a question of, are you physically close to them? It does help to be able to meet in person. As good as Zoom is, it's not necessarily possible to take the equipment in hand and show people just exactly how it's going to work, and how to turn this screw and what happens when that comes loose and how to focus and so on.
Oh, it's a big learning curve for sure.
Joan, if you're still on, and or Roxanne too, if you have groups that you want to boot camp with or are boot camping with, I'm always available for Movie and IOTA Zoom sessions. Can be on short notice, can be, to get them started, or it can be to work them through an issue that they're having. We do it all the time. I work with John Moore, and so that resource is always available to anybody that's mentoring or boot camping new members, new observers.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Tony. This
Tony.
is John. I also have learned I was helping a guy just one-on-one, and I made him a quick and dirty. It was not at all professional, but I took his data and did a quick reduction, recorded it, and just sent him the recording. And I guess that thing has gone viral because I'm hearing about it now from multiple other, and I had no idea that it was going to be passed around like that, but people do, it's like Roxanne said, today's generation, they're looking online for information, and a printed manual may not get a lot of traction with them. So whatever it takes, right?
It is a searchable Word file, not a printed manual.
Right. A PDF is much
Yep.
preferred to.
I sent out a link to the Pro-Am occultation presentation. It was a version of Ted's talk that I gave in 2018 at NEAF. What it is, I had set up some time ago a presentations page for the 2018 IOTA meeting, because the official one never got all of the presentations that I gave, and so I gave a link to what I did, for that Pro-Am there, and it was something I took from Ted and updated it a little bit, Ted, I think, can do better than what I did.
Ted is a super outreach presenter.
Yeah. I
Yep.
probably changed the emphasis too much to other things or something, but I don't know. But I think a combination of what we did there would be good.
Well, and I think it's good for these videos to have people with good presentation voices. When I listen to my YouTube or the ones that we recorded, mine sounds so terrible. My voice is terrible, but like Ted is very, very good. Bob Anderson he's just got a perfect announcer's voice. Somebody with a good voice, I think, is very, very important, because I wouldn't want to listen to videos.
Oh, audio is tough. I'm trying to make a YouTube video right now, and just recording yourself is just a complete nightmare to get everything right. Video you can do right. Audio, you need dead quiet, good equipment. But I found a great text-to-speech converter that's actually from IBM and based on their Watson technology. I'll put a link in the user group. They want you to pay, of course, if you want to get all the features, but I found you can use a audio editor like Audacity and configure it so it can actually screen scrape your audio from whatever source you're getting it from. And it doesn't lose any quality. It's very, very good. So I've been doing that. So I just put the dialogue in, record it, and then save it and drop the MP3 into my video. It's 10 times faster than trying to do it yourself.
Cool.
Well, I had one more thing I wanted to bring up regarding occultation cameras. A few weeks ago, I reached out to Dave G. Oh, yes, he's still online. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
And he gave me some guidance. I was interested in a 910 BD camera that, you know, the taco version, as I call it, the taco camera. But I started searching around. I contacted about 6 distributors. There isn't one of those things left on Earth. I cannot find one anywhere, at least new ones.
Hang on.
It still may be possible to get one of the 910HXs. I didn't want to go that route. I like what they did with the feature of being able to control the exposure through a piece of software. But I did hear from 2 different distributors that supposedly Watech, is that how they pronounce it? Is that the company? Yeah. They're supposed to be announcing a new camera this fall that's supposed to compete with the 910. I'm not sure what that's going to mean, because Watech was also suggesting that, oh, if you can't use, since we don't have any 910s, they suggested a 902. I mean, that's like, you know, going from a Ferrari back to a Ford, you know. So I can hold out to the fall. If they're going to have a new camera, we'll have to see what they come out with. I have no idea. The distributor's going to give me any more information.
Dave, thank you so much for the guide UCAT 4-star fix. Oh man, you know, that's what's so nice about having kind of the meeting like this, and even the online meeting. I'm amazed at how much, you know, we're learning and sharing back and forth amongst each other. Just these little tips and tidbits that help each of us, you know, as far as making occultations, you know, not the drudgery, but the fun of it, and helping us work out these little problems. So thank
No
you.
problem. No problem, Roxanne.
Yeah, just on that vein, I just think it's amazing that we can collaborate, you know, clear across the earth. You know, Australia and the United States collaborating together. I think it's just a fantastic resource. So.
It's pretty cool.
And the NSA is saving it all for us.
Well, I'm going to ring off, folks, but it's been good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm
Yep,
off.
it was fun.
Thanks,
Yeah.
All right.
everybody.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
Good morning, good day, and good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Good
Take
day.
care.
Yeah.
Clear
Bye.
skies.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
good night.
Bye.
Night. It's bailed out now. Yeah.